Folks, or good afternoon, I guess. Thanks for all attending. This is we did have a meeting, I guess, a week and a day or so ago, and this is continuation of that meeting. One of the concerns that people expressed at that meeting was that, can you hear me?
No.
I'll talk
Outside voice.
my outside voice. Geez, I feel like my wife is here. She's always telling me I need to talk louder, so thanks for that. I'll try to talk louder. If you can't hear, then we will. I'll yell, but don't take offense to that if I yell at you. We had a meeting about a week and a half ago at 1 o'clock where Mid-Hope Church Group made a presentation on Pine Oaks 4. They should be getting used to that now after all their presentations. We had an public discussion afterwards, but one of the points that were brought out at that meeting was some folks who worked during the day could not make a 1 o'clock meeting, and they asked if we could schedule a meeting at later in the afternoon. And so that's what the purpose of this meeting is to basically continue that discussion, give anyone who wanted to speak at the 1 o'clock meeting a chance to speak tonight or this afternoon. And then I'll ask the Pine Oaks folks to respond to those to the comments and concerns, and we'll keep that discussion going. And then at that point, I'll ask that we stop public discussion so our trust board members can have our discussion. And again, I appreciate you all being here. I would point out that this project has gone through and been approved by ZBA. I understand there's an appeal process that's, I'm not sure what the timing of that is.
20 days and it's up.
20 days, and it's over?
January 1st.
Sorry, January 1st, so there's still some more on the appeal period. But I only state that because it's beyond our purview to talk about the size of the project or any of those avenues. We're looking at the at helping fund of that, is that's what the desire of the trust board is. So this kind of sets the stage there. And with that, I'd ask for people who want to speak to it, either in opposition or in favor, to please come to the mic. And of course, when you come to the mic, you do have to state your name for the record. That way we'll have our minutes complete. And I'll ask you, I'm reminded, I would ask you to do two things. One is to contain your remarks to 3 minutes. I know I'm one of the folks that wanted to get home and eat. And the second request is I would ask if someone makes a point that you wanted to make, I'd ask you not to repeat that, or maybe set a limit. You can repeat the point twice, but 3 or 4 times, I think we may get the point at that point. So, let's keep it good discussion, and we'll go from there. Mary, you can.
Mary Anderson, and I'm here to ask the trust to fund this project, POD4 as it's called. I can't imagine a project that's better suited for us. We've got need. You were probably at the housing conference, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. We had the fire chief, we had the superintendent of schools, we had the town administrator, and 1 or 2 business people talk about the difficulty hiring people. I don't think that's gotten any better. One of them, I think it might have been the superintendent, said at some points they go to their 7th candidate, their 7th one that they would prefer by preference. So the need is clearly here. At your meeting a couple days, you can hardly hear me. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can,
No. How about now?
No, I don't think
Is it on?
I don't think that mic is on.
Is this part of my 3 minutes, Larry?
Sitting here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure we want to, we'll penalize you a little bit for that.
Okay, Mary Anderson, and I'm here to ask that you support this request for funding for Pine Oaks 4. I can't imagine a better project being proposed by our neighbors and friends. This is not some Boston outfit coming down here to rape and plunder. These are our friends and neighbors. The need is great. I think at least some of you were at the meeting a year or two ago where the fire chief, the superintendent of schools, the town administrator, and one or two business people talked about their difficulty in hiring qualified candidates. I remember a couple of people that we wanted for the town that were fabulous candidates. We had them lined up, and then they called back and said, sorry, no, can do, can't find housing. So the need is there. 2 days ago at your meeting, John Kerry talked about renting his, I think he said 7 market-rate apartments in the West Harwich School, and he had 140 applicants. So the need has not gone away. So I'd like to stop saying no and say yes to Pine Oaks 4. I know the biggest argument, at least the biggest one I hear, is traffic. And I happen to believe that we do not have a traffic problem in Harwich. I've lived and worked in Boston, and I know what traffic is. Yeah, it might take 5 minutes longer to go from point A to point B, but I think that's a small price to pay to get some people living here that can work in our businesses. The other concern is that it's going to ruin the character of the town. I don't think it's going to ruin the character of the town. I think it's going to continue it by having our businesses be able to have people so our restaurants can be open as many days as they want and not have to close down due to lack of staff. So that's my 3 minutes. I strongly urge you to support this request. Thank you.
You consider, as Caleb, you're still working on it?
Working on
Okay. If you, yeah.
Have a seat.
it. Hot seat.
You can,
Good evening.
don't get too comfortable, though.
Chris Nickerson, 16 Katie's Pond Lane, retired road manager for the town of Harwich for 25 years and DPW employee for 33 years. I have some notes. I'll read them and make it brief. So I know you heard all the numbers about the road and read the traffic reports. It was just a small capture of a small sample of traffic that exists on that road. Lived there for 33 years. I can tell you it's bad. I work for Robert Hour now, mile and a quarter away. It could take me 15 minutes in the summertime to get from Robert Hours to Katie's Pond Lane, which is just east of the bike trail crossing because of traffic. My wife spoke at the last meeting about the suggested road improvements in the narrow right-of-way that exists on Queen Anne Road, and the fact that there's no way to do it unless you're going to take land from everybody who lives along Queen Anne Road. A lot of those houses that were built were required to be built within a certain distance of the road. Back when they were built, one of my best friends was built about 36 years ago, and he had to build his house, I think, only a mere 35 feet from the edge of Queen Anne Road. If you take 15 feet to make a 40-plus foot road that is required to use state funding, you're going to be putting traffic right by his front door. My point is I'd like to visit the original intent of CPA funds as stated when it was created in 2005, and it was to create a local fund from property tax surcharges for affordable housing, historic preservation, open space and natural resources, and recreation with a focus on local priorities. I don't think this is local priorities.
Yes, it is.
May I speak, please?
No, please. No comments. Let's be respectful and just one person speak at a time. You'll have your turn.
As per Pine Oaks Village Board's own statement, local priority is anybody who attends, has kids in the school in the town of Harwich. We all know what school choice means. You're willing to drive to Monomoy, your kid can go to school there. If you work in the town of Harwich, so we all know, check Route 6, check what it's like to get on exit 10 in the afternoon with everybody going home from working in Harwich. There's a lot of people. And that's the end of that. I'm going to go back to reading and not create off the cuff. This creates a question of this, is this really local priority, or does it now become a regional priority? I personally believe it becomes a regional, and with both PD and FD saying additional staffing would be needing if this project is approved, the additional impacts on Harwich's share of the Monomoy school budget, which we all know is under review, but put those many kids in that small of a space and our share is going to go way up. The millions more needed for the millions of gallons of water needed annually, where does the bleeding stop? So this ask for CPA funds isn't just the end of the request, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And for those of us that struggle to survive now, additional staffing for public safety reaching $1 million annually alone, the need for multi-million-dollar road improvements, sewer, water needs, public works, et cetera, our taxes are going to go up significantly. I'm not saying we don't need to address the affordable housing issue. I'm saying that this project is too big in a location with no other services and does not meet the underlying philosophy of the affordable housing mission of maintaining community charm while meeting needs. You're our last hope of steering this ship in a different direction. I, as well as the rest of the group who came in opposition to this, respectfully request you deny Mid-Cape Church Homes' application for CPA funds and help us maintain the charm of our village.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
I keep looking at Caleb. I think you have to sit here.
Rather sit, so that's... I'm Christine Meyer. This is my husband, Greg Meyer. We own Meyer Landscapes in Harwich. I'm just going to read what I typed. So, as a locally owned business that has proudly served Harwich for over 15 years, we see the impacts of the housing crisis every single day. The lack of affordable housing has forced employers like us to continually raise wages simply so our employees can afford to live here. When wages rise out of necessity, service costs rise as well, making everyday services on Cape Cod less and less affordable to our own community. We make a deliberate effort to hire locally and support a year-round workforce. However, doing so has often meant that our prices are higher than our competitors, who subcontract the work to off-Cape companies. Increasingly, the residents have started to turn to the outside companies because local businesses are perceived as too expensive. This is not a failure of local businesses. It is a direct consequence of the rising cost of living on Cape Cod and the shortage of sufficient workforce housing. Today, more than 50% of the Cape's workforce commute over the bridge to provide essential services demanded by both the residents and the visitors. That reality is neither sustainable nor healthy for our community. Our shop is actually located on Queen Anne Road, less than half a mile from the proposed site. And from this perspective, we can say with confidence, it's not a project to fear, and on the contrary, we welcome it. Pine Oaks Village addresses a real and pressing need, and a smaller project would simply fall short of addressing the challenges Harwich and the Cape are facing. Projects like this one are essential to sustaining a healthy year-round workforce, which will allow people to live where they work, reduce long commutes, strengthen the community ties, and improve the overall quality of life. We recognize that there are residents who have concerns about this project, and their voices deserve respect and consideration. But at the same time, we must reflect on the long-term impact of delaying or denying affordable housing during a time of real workforce strain. The decisions we make today will shape Harwich for decades. The team behind Pine Oaks Village includes multi-generational Harwich residents who care deeply about this town and want nothing more than to see it thrive. This proposal was clearly developed with care and intention, setting aside 70% of the housing for locals and keeping 41% undeveloped to preserve open space and privacy. The plans also include on-site property maintenance, a community center, a playground, and a daycare facility, creating additional local employment opportunities. By supporting Pine Oaks Village, we're supporting local business and ensuring Cape Cod remains a viable place to live, work, and raise a family. So I respectfully urge you to support the Pine Oaks Village Affordable Housing Project. Thank you.
Thank you. I would actually ask that we hold the applause.
Yeah.
This is, give everyone a chance, just makes it a point.
And that one was exactly 3 minutes, if anyone's curious. So,
Unreal.
great job. It was
Nice job.
exactly 3 minutes.
On the dot.
My name's Joe Delamort. I think she got a copy of my letter, so for 15 years, I ran a local business in Harwich and depended daily on reliable local employees. Currently, I'm on the board of Mid-Cape Church Homes, and I urge your support for Pine Oaks Village 4 as a necessary, well-considered step toward addressing this town's growing affordable housing crisis. The problem is urgent. Each year it becomes harder for teachers, nurses, first responders, shopkeepers, landscapers, plumbers, and other essential workers to live here. With future bridge construction and rising housing costs, a median home price well north of $750,000 and a near absence of 3-bedroom rentals, we risk losing the people who keep our schools, businesses, and public services functioning. Small incremental additions of 5 or 10 units cannot meet this need. Pine Oaks Village 4 offers realistic, durable relief. The project provides a meaningful range of permanently affordable units, concentrating on 2- and 3-bedroom apartments appropriate for families and year-round workers. It is a thoughtfully designed community with amenities that foster stability and pride of place, while leaving 42% of the site in its natural state. On-site professional management, will be available 24/7 and will ensure standards of maintenance and resident safety. Concerns raised about traffic, wastewater, and environmental impacts have been carefully addressed. The Zoning Board of Appeals engaged independent third-party experts and reviewed studies from both town and project consultants, receiving input from all relevant town department and the Cape Cod Commission, and they heard from the public as well. In response to feedback, the plan was modified, and agreed to commitments were memorialized in 123 specific permit conditions. I respectfully encourage you to embrace Pine Oaks Village 4 as an important, vetted, and necessary part of the solution.
Thank you.
Can I leave you a copy of this?
Please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me ask you again to hold the applause. We'll just have let's not do that.
Hi, Patsy Ford for Harwich Port. I am here in favor of this project for all of the above reasons that everyone already spoke of. But my mother-in-law lived at Pine Oaks on Bank Street for many years. She thought she was in the best place ever, and the management of it is just, they take care of everyone, they take care of the property, and I just think that this is what's needed here. The traffic on Route 28, or on Route 6, exit 10, will not be so bad if people are able to live here. So, anyway, I just am here in support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda?
You can try again, Larry. Linda Sabula, Harwich Port. I speak to hoping that you will approve funding for Pine Oaks Village 4. It's a good project. It brings much-needed affordable housing to the community. We heard from a business owner that people just can't afford to live here. So we're losing workers, which means we will lose businesses. We lose businesses, we lose tax base. So there is more to this than just whether or not you want to fund the project. But I hope that you will consider, you have already funded 2 projects so far. This one is clearly a group of people, an organization that is local. It's not some big company coming from Boston. They're very local. There are friends and there are neighbors. Please support this project.
Thank you, Linda.
Good evening. I don't have mine written, so hopefully I can get this out in an organized way. I think my name is
Please.
Barbara
Thank you.
Prindle-Eaton. I've been a resident and voter here for 50 years. We raised 4 children here, and they all went to the schools. I served on the school committee in Harwich. I go to the local church. 3 of my kids moved back home with us at different times. The first one moved here when she and her husband got caught up in the previous mortgage scams, and they had to do a short sale of their house. So they moved back here hoping that they could live here. They moved in with us. Because if we'd had them go and rent somewhere, they never would have been able to save enough money for a down payment. What they found is they could save enough if the housing costs were less. The second of our children moved here, the same hope that they could buy a house eventually. Same thing, we said, come and live with us, because if you rent with the exorbitant rents, if you can even find one, then you won't be able to save enough. Fortunately, a dear friend of ours allowed her house to be sold to them without it going on the market where it'd be snatched up by somebody who would renovate it and flip it. And so they were able to move to Brewster, but not to Harwich. The third one, my son, is a single parent after his divorce. We moved him in with us so we could support both he and the 2 grandchildren. But no way can he afford, even though he has a very good job with Xfinity, but he can't afford to rent any place. The affordable housing is the issue in large amounts. As a parent, I'd love to have my children back here, and I know that there are many other parents who feel the same way, that their children grew up in this community and they can't afford to live in this community. I think we'd like to bring them back. Thank you. I hope you'll support the project.
Thank you.
Art Bowden, pardon me, Art Bowden, Harwich, and housing advocate. I'm heartened tonight by seeing the voices, or hearing the voices that are speaking in favor of this project. I suffered through all the meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and most nights I was the only voice in the audience. So it really does me good. But Larry, I'm not that overwhelmed that I'm going to sit down and not speak. I'm going to speak.
You have 3
And
minutes.
I'll keep it short. I want to speak, well, first of all, I want to give thanks to Mary Anderson for pointing out Pine Oaks, because that's what I'm speaking about. Pine Oaks. Pine Oaks has been in town 50 years. They've been a housing entity for those 50 years. Pine Oaks is our neighbors. We know them. They know us. And what better entity to sponsor a housing project of any size, shape, or color than Pine Oaks? They know how to manage property. They know how to maintain it. And I don't know how they do it, but they keep the people happy. That's all 3 balls in the air at the same time. I don't know how the heck they do it, but they do it. I've heard all the other things I'm not going to bore you with, and you've heard them too. Too big, too small, too whatever, traffic, whatever. So I urge you, because they are our neighbors, they're right down the street. If something goes wrong, we can reach out and touch them and drag them in and sit them down and say, what's happening here? You know, we don't have to go to Boston. We don't have to go wherever. They're right here. They're our neighbors. So I urge you, I know there's a lot of push against this project, but I urge you to support this project. As I said before, things boil down in life between our needs and our wants. We want a beautiful community here with hardly anyone living in it and just everything honky-donkey, no traffic, no whatever. But that ain't going to happen. That isn't going to happen. That's not it. We're in 2026 already. What we need is, we need Pine Oaks and we need this project. We need housing. Thank you.
Steve Farrell, North Harwich. The reason we're here tonight is about taxpayer money being spent for this project, not about anything else. So what started off as a $1.5 million ask is now a $1.8 million ask. It's a lot of money. The developer basically came in and said, we're going to do this, whether you like it or not. And now they're here looking for taxpayer money to support their project. And I say they don't need it. In the last meeting, they were asked, if they don't get the money from your panel, will the project still go forward? And the answer was yes. And then they threw in the caveat that the state may, though, not look kindly on the town for the 70% percentage of the preferred housing. So what is it? Is it 70% for the community? Or is it if you don't give us money, you may not be looking at 70% of the community? And then the last thing I'll leave you with is $16 million plus in development fees, which will go in the pockets of the people that develop this project. I think that leaves plenty of money for them. If they're looking to help the community, use your money to help the community. Let people that are building smaller projects more in line with what the town has said that they want to see get those funds, as you folks did the other day with Mr. Carney. So I just ask that let them spend their own money and use the money that you have control over to help our community, for people that are actually willing to work with the town and the plan that the town developed. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Sherry Stockdale, North Harwich. The taxpayers of Harwich spent $250,000 on a housing production plan that clearly stated that Pine Oaks 4 is not what they want in this town. Pine Oaks 4 is 242 rental units that will be available to Harwich residents in the first round only. That's not how you build community. This money would be better spent trying to build small starter homes or homes where elderly people can downsize into. This project is going to cost the town a bundle as it is. The infrastructure improvements are going to be through the roof. It's well known what's going to happen at the 124 exit. We've got the Primrose project going on. We have the Marceline industrial area that has recently sold or is about to sell. That could be something like a CVS. So we're looking at huge infrastructure costs to our town in the upcoming years because of all the affordable housing that's going in and because of the commercial property. This project, it doesn't really matter who's building it. A lot's being made here. It's our friends and neighbors. Well, the impact on the town's going to be the same. There is a 40B very similar to the size and scope of Pine Oaks that was built in Plymouth. And Plymouth is now realizing the true financial cost of this 40B. The Plymouth police chief has said that the actual impact of these developments on police resources is far higher than developers typically project during the approval process, and that they far outpace any projections. So if you think about what it's going to cost in emergency services, what it's going to cost in infrastructure, this is going to cost the town a lot of money as it is. And as I said, this is all rental. And Hanover Hyannis, which is very similar, 40B, similar in size and scope to Pine Oaks 4, just sold for $129 million to Goldman Sachs. And now Goldman Sachs, the bank, will collect rent in perpetuity. So that's what happens to these 40Bs. And whether they sell it or not, it's still an enormous amount of money coming in perpetuity, in rent only, that it seems to me that they could certainly afford the $8 million that they're going to be coming to the town for over the course of the project. We will already, and the residents of North Harwich will pay in other ways too. So please do not give Pine Oaks 4 hard-earned taxpayer money. It would really be a slap in the face to the residents of North Harwich, who have already really taken on a lot for the town in terms of industrial zone, in terms of the transfer station. Really, what else can we give? We're given it all. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sherry. Anyone else wish to speak?
Good evening. Tom Birch, resident of Harwich since 1980. Own 2 properties on Queen Anne Road, commercial, industrial. One of the first ones down there that really took care of the property and kind of set the bar. I believe your funds could do a lot better elsewhere in the town. We have Pine Oaks Village. I've been to just about every meeting, and we're talking about infrastructure, and they go, oh, we'll pay our fair share of these designs and improvements, yet they want to pay their fair share and then come to us and ask for the money to pay their fair share. Doesn't make sense to me. You can put that money to more useful and more beneficial things than this giant project. And one more thing, I pay 100% of both my tax bills, yet Pine Oaks Village wants to get 100% of the services but pay 50% tax. And they're going to pay 50% to your funds.
Thank you, John. Let me be sure that, is anyone online wish to speak? I'm looking up there. I guess I can look here too, but. If no one else wishes to speak from there, I'd ask Bob, they raised some questions. I know I have some of these on when they can sell the property. You know, this idea that the goal is at some point they can sell and get profits.
Okay.
That's one stuck in my mind, and
Okay.
traffic, of course, is always a good one.
Yeah. One of the things I've...
Your name?
Yeah.
Bob Doan.
Thanks.
Forest Street.
We all know you, Bob, but you gotta do it.
One of the great things that's happened since we started this project is how many people have told us how much they appreciate Pine Oaks 1, 2, and 3. They typically might have a parent, an aunt, could be friends, parents living there, as well as maybe a school teacher that they had in Harwich. I think that's a testament that, it has been very, very popular. And the other thing they say is that the property is very well maintained. We keep the roads clear in the winter. We the apartments are kept up to date. We do new landscaping all the time, and we have a tremendous staff that's very friendly, and everybody can feel they can walk in, and includes the social director that helps coordinate community activities and is a big help to the community. Anyways, after nearly 20 years of monitoring existing Pine Oaks properties, the Board of Directors, hearing the desperate need for housing, decided to jump into action and look for land to start a new phase. It took a few false steps to get started, but we fortunately offered some land in North Harwich. After several years, we've accumulated over 36 acres, including 2 homes on the property. Early on, we thought we could offer both apartments and home ownership, but reality set in is that there's no public funding for home ownership, so we just proceeded with the apartments. Guided by the 2016 Harwich Housing Production Plan, we put together a design over time would contribute a substantial number of apartments towards Harwich inventory of affordable housing. Our goal has always been to develop a community within a village where neighbors can socialize with each other, help each other, and be a close-knit family. We envisioned a family-oriented community and chose to supply more 2- and 3-bedroom apartments. In contrast, Penrose has more 1-bedroom apartments and half the number of 2-bedroom apartments. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different strategy of accommodating more singles and people without children. Still a very high demand for that. When I grew up in Harwich, I was fortunate enough to always be surrounded by woodlands and abandoned bogs. I would come home from school, change my clothes, and head to the woods, usually with Steve Ford. We would look for salamanders under rotting logs, build mini forts with fallen trees, watch the water run between the bogs, and try to catch tadpoles. A truly idyllic setting. That is what we thought of when we envisioned Pine Oaks community. And that is what we have done with our local location in North Harwich. In our design, we took to heart both the existing production plan and Cape Cod vision of closer and larger buildings, so natural land would be left at the perimeter. And that what had to be hardscape, buildings, parking lots, roadways, would be kept to a minimum. We have done that with over 42% of the land left undisturbed and only 30% of the land to be hardscape. The rest will be revegetated with native species, and to add, as one of the conditions after the initial planting, we will not be doing any irrigation, so we're not being used extra town water. Our recreation will be family-oriented with playground, picnic tables, a soccer pitch, a half basketball court, and pickleboard courts. So some of the questions that have come up. First, talking about the amount of road work that might have to be done. As we've stated to the ZBA and elsewhere, because we're affordable housing, we will be eligible, or the town, I should say, will be eligible for Housing Works, a very massive funding program that supports affordable housing. They do road work, they do sewer if necessary, and these are not small dollars. You can get a small grant, like just for doing a study of what might be possible in the area, for a couple $100,000, or like Gardner got $3,500,000 for their roadways. I also want to just mention, I got statistics from Orleans, the Cape Cod 5 project called FAIR. They had 15 school-age children occupy the apartments, and there were 62 units as opposed to our 50. Also, some questions from the last meeting. Did anyone ask you to make the community smaller? The primary governing body of design is the Board of Appeals. They did not ask us to make it smaller or even make a comment. Perhaps they understood the financials, especially the cost of wastewater treatment facility, and realized that it would be difficult to do so. Others have said such large-scale community belongs in Hyannis or Yarmouth, not on this part of the Cape. But our sibling town in Brewster has Ocean Edge with 247 condos in their community. What if you get no funding from the town? Could you proceed? And just repeating as we said in the meeting, yeah, we'll try to do that. And we'll ask for 70% preference from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, but probably would not be given any local preference. They expect the town to have some skin in the game. What if we reduce the amount of funding? We would have to go into value engineering on the buildings, take away some of the features that make it attractive and not just rectangular boxes. We would probably scale back the community building and perhaps eliminate some of the recreation facilities. And long-term, we may have to reconsider having the daycare center on site. And an obvious question is, why can't you do like Penrose with only $500,000? Well, our expenses are more than Penrose. We have chosen to build less than 7.5 apartments per acre, as opposed to 11. We have more site work, longer roads, and utility runs to accommodate keeping the buildings isolated from the neighbors and keeping them central. From day one, we will have more sophisticated wastewater treatment facility, reducing nitrogen to near zero, if not zero. Penrose, by fact, having 60 apartments, receives more rent. I'd like to say something on behalf of the families for whom we will be providing a home. Some of them are young and just starting out. Some have disabilities. Some are retired. Most are working. Many are from Harwich. They're good people. They need a home. We need their labor, their energy, their contributions. We need them in Harwich. The Trust recently demonstrated bold leadership by awarding John Carey $1,370,000. This sets a precedent for supporting transformative projects at a significant scale. Our organization's request for $1.8 million is consistent with this vision of bold investment. We encourage the Trust to continue this momentum. Our project deserves the same level of commitment and confidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Did you have some additional questions that you
I'm going to turn it over now to Bob. I'll start with you. Okay, Melody?
I think, Bob, I know I asked this last time, but just for clarification, just because I was going through it. So we're looking at, the request is 1.8 for 50 units for phase one.
Correct.
Which is about, what, 36,000 per unit, it looks
Yep.
like. And then we had talked about it last time, that if we did approve that, that would guarantee those 50 units to be built, so that it wasn't necessarily committing, for the next,
No.
the next incremental.
No.
Right, it would be a wait and see where we were at and where you were at.
Exactly.
But there was an ability to fund that and guarantee the 50 units. And I
Right.
understand that would be the primarily taking care of the wastewater treatment in that phase one, kind of setting you
No,
up.
it sets it
not
up for
entirely.
it.
Right,
But it
sets it
doesn't
up,
entirely.
okay.
Then when we get two more,
Got
then
it.
it becomes an official wastewater treatment plant that has to be monitored every day.
Okay.
And testing, well testing and all that, which is very expensive to do in our first phase under Title V.
Got it. Okay, just wanted to make sure I understood what we were being presented with in the question
Yes.
for a vote. Thank you.
Jeff, I'll jump to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Bob. All I have to say at this point is my sincere thank you to all who have come out and participated here tonight, both in favor of the project and in opposition of the project. And I'm interested to hear what my other two colleagues here have to say, and that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Brendan,
I don't have any questions for Bob, so I don't know if you have any.
I think you've answered our questions. What we've tried to do with the other projects, and when we have a motion, is to have it tied into different contingencies, so we know you're progressing forward, so we're not moving ahead, providing money without a milestone to happen. So that, I think, is discussion will happen when we get, depending what our next steps are.
Sure.
But what would be remind me again the timing of this?
Okay, so we hope to file an application in the early March to HLC, that for the state funding, basically the LIHTC grants or credits that they give both for the federal government and the state, as well as myriad of other type little pockets of money that can contribute. So if we were to get that, and we'd be notified by probably July, then we could start working on the final architectural plans. And that'll take probably 6 months at least to get that, and then pull a building permit. And then once I forgot a very important step. Do the plans, but then we have to find all the investors and the funding, put it all together into what is called the closing, which I think you heard that term before from Penrose, the closing. That's when everything is set, you got all your money committed, everything, then you can put your shovel in the ground and get going. It will probably take 18 months to build a project, and as we've learned, just getting to the set point of running out with the lottery and all that takes months. It's kind of weird. But anyways, so we're well into probably 2028 for the full occupancy.
And in terms of funding commitment, if we were to make a commitment, that would not actually be a source of funding to until the closing?
Until the closing, yeah.
So by that point, you would have all the permits,
Yes, yeah.
The contingencies, ZBA, all that would be would be.
Yeah,
a
that's
grant.
all done, and yeah, there, a lot of
That
those
doesn't happen,
contingencies
then
are,
it doesn't.
have to be done before the permit's pulled,
Right.
and some have to be done before they get the occupancy permit.
Okay.
So those will all be completed, yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? What's your other, you want to think it's Sabbath? Are we, let me first say, are we in favor of the project? I think we should make a statement on that kind, separate from the funding question.
Do you want to go through?
I'm in favor of the project. It's not a perfect project. But when it comes to affordable housing, perfect is for sure the enemy of the good. I believe that this is a good project. It's got challenges. There are things that I wish had been done, and one of those is that I wish that the town had approached Pine Oaks about wastewater treatment and partnering wastewater treatment. Because if you look at the wastewater treatment plans that are online for Harwich, there's a wastewater facility on Queen Anne Road, just down the street from Pine Oaks 4. So shame on us for not reaching out a hand and saying, let's be partners in this. Or is there some way that the wastewater treatment plant at Pine Oaks, is that possibly available for local residents to be able to tie into, so that we could possibly cut our sewering costs and provide for better wastewater treatment? As far as I know, that never happened. I wish that it had. It would really move a good project closer to a perfect project.
May I respond?
Please.
Sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, because I know eventually, and we don't know when, there will be, or is scheduled to have a wastewater treatment in the area, not real close by. And actually, I don't think it's too late to start those discussions. You know, it is possible, we still have to get our groundwater permit and all that, and we'd be happy to talk with them at this point. I don't know if there can be any plans made, but we're certainly open to discussions even at this point.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
It would take some bold leadership, and maybe we've got some around here, I'm not sure. But I also want to say that as a member of the Affordable Housing Trust, I came to this job with the belief that my primary responsibility is to create and help create affordable housing. That's what I think of as my job. And I can't for a minute think about turning my back on a partner that comes forward and says, we're ready to help. And that's Pine Oaks 4, and that's Pine Oaks 3, and that's Pine Oaks 2, and that's Pine Oaks 1. And this community wouldn't be half the community that it is without what they've already done. I can think of about 250 older and disabled individuals that would raise their hands and say yes. So I am in favor. I am in favor of providing some funds to help this project go forward.
Thank you, Bob. Claudia?
Yes, Bob. Yeah, I think I am also in favor of this project. The question, obviously, that I keep asking is around the phases, so the level of commitment, and for me, it's making a commitment to the first phase and feeling comfortable with that at 1.8 million. 50 units, family and individual. I particularly like the way that Pine Oaks is set up, like some of the speakers talked about. I have friends and family who've stayed and lived in them. The adjustment for the income levels allowed them to stay there even with changing incomes, which happened with especially the elderly folks that I know that have stayed there. The fact that there's no market rate units in this project, to me, is a big plus. That's something that I grapple with when we do affordable housing, where people do have market rate units, and there is some profit in that. I'm not saying there won't be. I know this is a nonprofit organization, so I'm also very comfortable with that. So for me, again, as a phased project, I'm very comfortable and supportive of this project. Again, given the fact that it's $36,000 per unit, and we're funding, you know, $150 to $250 per unit in others. So I feel like we're trying to be broad and diverse in what we're trying to bring to this community. But it's a very good number.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Brendan?
Yes. A big thank you to everyone for their letters of support and opposition. It was very helpful in trying to make this decision. I also did have a chance to speak with many residents, department heads, and select board members over the last month. Pine Oaks, to me, has been a great partner for the town. They represent about 160-plus units of our housing stock. I believe this project would produce needed housing as it's laid out in the housing production plan and the LCP draft. I believe the trust, as a trust and as a fiduciary, this project furthers our strategic plan as well. And I think it's the first real break into 100 and the 110% AMI. You know, we're very focused on the 80%, and this is going to tap into that as well. So that's a big discussion that we have on the housing committee and trying to drive that and how we can get funds. There's no funding for that, so it's a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, I do support the project, and you know, obviously, talking about structure of the motion.
Yeah.
If you want Jeff to go next.
I would. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start by saying, make sure you can hear me, that you will not hear an argument from me regarding POV 1, 2, or 3. They are a tremendous asset to the town of Harwich and the people who live there. That has never been in question, at least not for me and most of everybody, if not everybody that I've spoken to. I certainly respect my colleagues and their opinions. I come from this, I believe, from a bit of a different, I look through this, I see this through a different lens, I should say. As a select board member, our board voted twice, once in October, I believe, of 2024, in opposition of the project as it stood. We also voted as a board, I believe, in either November or December of 2025 to ask the Cape Cod Commission for a discretionary review. So I come from a little bit of a different place. I think that we wrestle with so many different aspects of this town of Harwich and where we live. So, you know, housing is a tremendous concern. And it is for me as well. As my two last recent votes, not so long ago, with Penrose and the John Kerry, which is about 70-something units. So am I in favor of the project? I do not support the project as it stands right now and as it is going to move forward. I am not in support of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Brendan?
Oh, back to you.
I'm in favor of the project for a simple reason that I firmly believe we need more housing available in Harwich. I'm involved with some organizations, Outer Cape Health for one, in which we really struggle hiring nurses, registered, our healthcare workers. We've had, I was at the same meeting I think Mary had, we struggled hiring the teachers we need. We also have housing issues with our police and firemen. Basically, people who work for a living have a hard, and they're not available. So this would help that. I think we've all carefully listened, and I'm grateful for the people that spoken up, both in opposition and in favor, because we have tried to consider those. I would say that I hear a lot of people say, well, we should be doing it, single houses at a time, but we don't have enough money for that. Number one, that'd be to do it one at a time. That I suppose be ideal. We haven't given up that. We keep talking amongst ourselves about how can we be creative and look at providing buy-down credits, mortgage help, anything that would help, because this is not to be flippant, but this doesn't solve world hunger. We provide additional housing. We need more. But this gets us closer to providing those homes that we want people to be here and have those houses available. So I'm in favor for that. It's not perfect. I'm waiting for what the results. I'm hoping that if we take these initial steps, the town, along with the Pine Oaks Group, along with the Penrose Group, can seek funding from the state and how can we improve the traffic pattern and give us some aid on Queen Anne Road. It's a concern. It's one that we all live with. It's not Boston traffic, but it's traffic we're not used to. But I see. At least I look at our position as we're trying desperately to create some more housing in a favorable way, so we can ask our people to stay here. So I'm in favor of that. With that, we have at least four. I don't need a vote on this. We're at this point. Well, I can't take a vote. Let's take a.
Well, I was hoping to maybe discuss a little further the dollars.
Let's talk about the dollars.
Can I do that real quick? Because I had a motion plan.
Let's do this. This, for the record, though, does anyone move to in favor of the project?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
And we've had discussion. I want to be sure we had a chance to give us, let's have a vote. Jeff?
Opposed.
Opposed? Brendan?
Aye.
Aye, Bob, aye, and I'm an aye, so 4-1. I decided to do that, Jeff. I want to be sure you're on record.
100% appreciate that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Brendan, now look at, let's talk about that we do fund what the dollars we were by
So
consider.
this was not my first stab. I put a lot of thought into this, and I was thinking about the dollars in Penrose that we recently gave, which came up to roughly $8,333 per unit. The way all that money shakes out, and with the ground lease, and we're giving $500,000, it comes to that amount, which is the $500,000. I was thinking the same for this project as well. This is the first phase, and I want us to dive deeper into, do we have the 1.8? So I was thinking the $8,333, I'm rounding down on that number, which would be roughly, it will be actually $416,000, $650. And then also along with that, there would be some contingencies or conditions. And one of the conditions I was thinking about is, we have our general conditions, but adding some conditions and some acknowledgements. The first acknowledgement would be, this would be pending the CC DRI from the Cape Cod Commission. And I know, I'm not too sure if the select board has gotten that back yet, or where that's at. And then also the appeals process, which was answered tonight, but get confirmation on that as well if they're out of that 20 or 30-day period. And then as far as the conditions, it really weighs on the local preference. This is a part that we can really try to help with that local preference and make sure the town, let me back up, the town is going to be writing that letter. And the ZBA has 2 paragraphs in their conditions where it talks about local preference and shall be done if the executive office says yes to it. So there's a couple of moving parts to that, but I would just want to make it clear that they follow the guidelines on the local preference, and that letter is issued. So this will bring Pine Oaks and the Select Board together for the first time. I think that'd be very important to have in there as a condition. So, and then one other thing as far as disbursement of funds, I had it as after Phase 1 is complete, and then after the affirmative fair housing marketing plan is complete, along with leases, regulatory agreements, as noted in the ZBA decision. So ultimately, the lottery begins day one, that's when we get the funding. That's how I had it structured, but just want to know your thoughts on the dollar amounts, and maybe talking about, do we have 1.8?
We don't have 1.8 to do with it one shot, that's clear.
Yeah.
It's, I don't
Even
know.
though it's even though it's projected out to 2028.
28.
Yeah.
Jeff?
If I could, Mr. Chair, at this point, I would like to hear a formal motion prior to discussing any more of the dollars, so that there's a motion on the table that can be seconded, and then we can have a formal discussion,
Well,
Oh, then you say we modify the motion.
and then you can modify, change, do
Yeah,
whatever.
we can do that. We're
I thought we
trying,
were gonna-
It would clean up the process
we can do
at this
that.
point.
I was trying to get some information out first.
Understood.
If you want to make the motion there, if you have one ready?
I could. It's going to take a while. I'm going to read the whole thing, so hang in there. Motion to approve the Affordable Housing Trust application submitted on 11/26/2025, presented by Mid-Cape Church Home, Inc., doing
Excuse
business,
me, can you all hear him?
doing business as Pine Oaks Village Homes and Queen Anne Acres LLC. Address 0 Queen Anne Road, multiple lots, map and parcel 57C5, 57C2, 57C6, a portion of 57H1, 57H3, 57H2, 46M10, 47C14, and 47B10. Owners are Mid-Cape Church Homes, Inc., doing business as Pine Oaks Village Homes and Queen Anne Acres LLC, presented by Bob Doan and Jim Perrine. Sorry, my apologies. The total amount to be committed will be $416,650 for 50 units of rent and income restricted housing, area median income as defined by the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. That roughly breaks down to $8,333 per unit. The Affordable Housing Trust has evaluated the project's feasibility to the degree which it meets the priorities of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund and the availability of such funds. Funds to be dispersed based on progress. Phase 1 complete, $416,650. Date to be determined based on completion of Phase 1. Funds to be awarded with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities approval of the Affirmative Fair Housing Marketing Plan, leases and regulatory agreements on the first day of the lottery. Following documents and milestones. The Affordable Housing Trust application submitted 11/26/2025. ZBA approval, case number ZB 2025-21, on December 1st of 2025. The Affordable Housing Trust acknowledges the objective milestones before funding is released. The Cape Cod Commission DRI, the ZBA 30-day appeal process expired, Phase 1 completion, and the Executive Office approval of the Affirmative Fair Housing Marketing Plan, leases and regulatory agreements, and the start of the 60-day lottery. General conditions: attain deed-restricted language and process by working with town administrator, housing advocate, and town lawyer, town council. Meet all requirements set forth in the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. Meet all requirements for all 50 units to be on the SHI list, that is the Subsidized Housing Inventory List. 4, local preference as referred in the ZBA Comprehensive Permit Decision under Section 5, Conditions of Approval, Administrations, Parts 17 and 23. To reaffirm the collaboration with the town, Select Board, TA, and Housing Advocate to produce evidence satisfactory to the subsidizing agency for local preference as defined under 40B guidelines updated in 2014 for subsidized housing inventory. For reference in that document, Chapter 3, Section D, Local Preference 1 and 3, pages 45 and 46. That would be the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. The motion becomes detailed because we want to be sure that the money spent is accounted for, and that we're closely watching the dollars. But Jeff, I'll let you comment first.
I'm going to comment later if I may. I'm looking for a document pertinent to this, so if you wouldn't mind giving me a little bit of time,
Okay,
Larry.
Claudia, I'll.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Brendan, if we're looking at, just to be, I'm trying to get a better understanding of the funding. So if we just gave John Kerry 1.3 for 14 units, right? So that's 92,000 per unit. So I know you're comparing it to Penrose. Does Penrose have market rate units?
No.
No, okay. So I guess, I'm trying to, maybe if you could speak to that a little bit, just because I'm grappling with 36,000 per unit seemed like a very good deal. So to say that we're gonna spend 92,000 per unit for John Kerry's, which I love, right? I'm just trying to make sure that as we've talked through things, that we have an internal understanding of what we're approving and when and why, and dollar amounts that are aligned with that.
Yeah, so my reservation was, do we have the 1.8 or the 36,000 per unit? When you look at John Kerry's money, he is our, I think he said this during his, I watched it, we're gonna be his only source of funding for grant money. Where if you look at Penrose, if you look at Pine Oaks, they're getting a whole lot of state dollars as well, which is indirectly tax dollars. So it's a little bit different. So that answers your question. So in other words, John's getting nothing else except our money and then his private funding.
Okay, so I guess I still would question the amount. I still would think that we would want to give more than that amount, given what we're getting in terms of 50 units. I don't have a dollar figure. If I need one, then I can throw one out there, but somewhere between 92 and 8 would be something. So, not to be snarky at all, it's just literally, I don't I'm pretty new to this. The other question I had was the Cape Cod Commission condition. What would that look like? Because I know we don't necessarily need it, and I'm concerned that if there's something, I don't know what would come from that. I think there's been conversations around that requirement, so to have that tied into ours feels
Well, I was just
more than we would need.
Yeah, I was just leaving it as an acknowledgement because it is a document that's out there. And
Okay, but not a condition of
No, it's
funding, it's just.
not a condition.
Just that we get it, we see it, and it's.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, as long as it's not the contents of it are some form of condition for us. then
No, I mean,
don't
I think the
that.
Cape Cod Commission has already, they gave their 8-page letter to ZBA during one of the meetings. Mr. Sullivan spoke to that point. They did reach out, they had no further comment. The select board did send the DRI out, but for understanding, the Cape Cod Commission really sits as a local board in this matter. It's a little bit different than you would think, so we'll see what that comes back as. But I just want to make acknowledgement, because it has been brought up in our meetings from the public, that's all.
Okay.
Just an acknowledgement of the milestone.
That makes sense.
Mr.
And
Chair.
I
sorry.
think if I were to put a number out there, which again, I don't know if that's even my prerogative, I would say.
No, I think it is, because we need to discuss that.
So I guess I would, again, if I need to pick something between the two, then I would say, 50,000 per unit would be something that I would see as reasonable in terms of, no, they're at 36,000, so we need something between 9 and 36, so I would say 25.
Larry, can I speak to the funding that we have, the actions we've taken this week, just so we have a sense of dollars?
Right.
If you want.
What's in the
Well,
balance?
let's come
Yeah.
back,
Okay.
let's
Okay.
come back to that.
Mr. Chair, if I could go next because my battery is running out and I need to read something.
Okay.
If I could, thank you. Sorry, I found it, and I don't want to lose it. You sent an email earlier this week, Mr. Chair, and I don't know whether it is or isn't germane to this conversation, but I would like clarification if I could. And Bob, if you wouldn't mind coming back, because I'm sure you're probably going to be able to answer this. Thank you. There was a statement, Larry, in your email that reads, and I'm sorry to have to read it, it's not that long. The affordable units shall permanently remain affordable units, or for so long as the project is not in compliance with the town's zoning bylaw, or the longest period allowed by law, whichever is longer, so that the affordable units shall continue to serve the public purposes for which this comprehensive permit was authorized under Mass General Law 4020-23. It is the intent of this decision that the affordable unit shall be and shall remain eligible to be included in the town's SHI as maintained by the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities in accordance with yada yada. Does that ring a bell to you, Bob?
I might need Jim because,
Jeff,
Do you have an answer to that?
I do have an answer to
Okay,
that.
okay.
Sorry to
That is-
get,
That is from the ZBA decision, the legal language.
right,
And so that was directly out of their ZBA decision
okay,
on Pine Oaks 4. I sent that because I didn't, to me, there's a lot of legalese I didn't understand. So I was asking, I've asked some others for clarification what that meant.
okay.
But that's strictly cut and pasted from their ZBA decision.
So do you feel you're satisfied with the understanding of that? Because in your email, you say you.
No, I
You're not-
left out, I do not understand it.
Yeah, so could we get the applicant to speak to it quickly?
Yeah, I don't have the language in my head, but basically it means the units will be affordable in perpetuity. I actually had argued at the zoning board that I thought we'd be better off in certain ways if we could have them affordable for 50 years. And the idea being they'll be owned by a nonprofit which wants to keep them affordable indefinitely, in perpetuity, basically, but that we might have a better shot of getting, should we need it, in 50 years, we're going to need some money to renovate, to refresh, to replace kitchens and bathrooms. It's sometimes easier to get some of the affordable housing funds for renovation out of the state if it's getting near the end of affordability. And then you can say, we'll extend the affordability for another 50 years and just keep on going like that. Now, the ZBA said, no, we want it in perpetuity. And we said, okay. So it's, so that it's the longer of perpetuity or the longest allowed by law or whatever. So it basically is perpetuity. And when we submit our funding application to the state in March, we will be committing also to the state to do it in perpetuity. That's all.
Well, you're on record saying it, so I'm comfortable with
Yeah,
that.
I
So
know.
thank you with that, Mr. Chair.
So that's why, the reason I sent that out, and I misspoke, I said I didn't understand it. The reason I sent it out was, to you guys, was the same question comes up in Penrose. How do we ensure it goes
Correct.
on forever?
Correct. And that's
And
certainly
I looked at that
important.
language. That was
And I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say two more things if I could, Mr. Chair. One, obviously, if the board votes in favor of this, I will support the will of the board. But I would like to add to the motion, as we did with the Penrose,
Oh, yes.
the chair shall sign prior to any and all funds being dispersed.
Okay,
The
thank
chair of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Right.
Brennan, you
I'll use
remember-
the same language
Same
we used,
language
yeah.
from the Penrose, but for the public's edification, the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust must sign for any and all disbursements for this project.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'd like that added in.
Thank you.
Yep.
may I just make one other comment?
Yes,
Yeah, one of the things, you're comparing us to Penrose, and you're coming up with a per unit cost of how much you're contributing. But remember, we both have 90 bedrooms. It's just our configuration for families. So you may want to look at a per bed cost instead of just a unit, because they have a clear advantage of having 60 units versus 50.
right, okay, thank you.
Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for calling me, Bob.
You want me to mention the dollars?
Pardon?
Do you want to talk about dollars?
We can.
Wait till.
Wait till Bob goes this. 'cause-
Yeah, I'm just, I'm looking for a compromise between the two positions. And the compromise would be 16.5 per unit. And that would work out to a total of $825,000
Okay.
as, So I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's-
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. You
So,
can-
like I said, it was my first stab at it just based on funding. So this week, if we gave out what I proposed, because I have the numbers already set, it's almost 2.3 million that we're doling out. We have what liquid of like 2.9,
But we-
but we also have money coming in from Penrose potentially. And we also have
We have-
potential CPC
We have
money as well.
CPC money coming in.
So I think we could go up. So, there's increments of what I proposed. If it was obviously $10,000 per unit, it'd be 500,000, 20,000 would be $1 million. Bob's would be the 1.25, and then the 36,000 per unit is the 1.8.
Yeah.
So there could be a compromise. Like I said, it was my
I-
first shot at, but
my-
I just want to make sure everyone's comfortable with the dollars we have
Right.
in the bank,
I-
because now we're kind of, we're maxing
Stretching
out.
it.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is that include, because I know there's money that still needs to be transferred and it hasn't been yet, that includes that money?
There's a couple of things we're still working on.
So, yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
there's-
Just
What we know
wanted to
we
make
have,
sure.
we're doing it based
What
on
we
what we know is
definitely
in the
know.
bank.
Perfect, thank
But
you.
you're right. Projecting forward, we're closer like over 4 million.
Okay, thank you.
And then
So
total
we
funding
can do
between
that.
CPC
Plus-
and Penrose potentially is 1.3.
Plus this would be doled out, I think, would be funded, not in one shot, be funded over a couple of years.
Okay,
They asked for 1.8. Not to get in all the details, I'm more comfortable reaching 1 million to get close. Because I think when we get wrapped up in so fine tuning the numbers that it becomes sort of a show. So that'd be the direction I would take.
nice clean number.
Yeah.
So which number are we talking?
1 million.
1 million?
You want to show of hands on that, Larry? Larry,
Yeah, sure.
do you want a show of hands
Well,
on
does
that?
that, we have a motion, which no one, we have a second to the motion, we didn't. We
Well,
just-
no.
Oh, the
We
motion
just-
was seconded.
We did,
We just
but-
have to
What's
amend
the
it,
second? So
or
we
I have to read it again.
Do you just want to get some indication from each of us
Okay.
whether or not we agree with
Wait,
your,
Okay,
yeah, I could go with that.
okay.
Me too.
Say you first.
Pardon?
You go first.
Was his
I
idea?
am, it's my idea, I can go with it.
As long as you're comfortable with the dollars that we have, and this could be like, pretty much, obviously, we want to do other things, but maybe we could focus on some other projects we've been talking about. So
Right.
yes, I'd be okay.
Okay,
Yes.
Do I get a say in this?
obviously you do.
Thank you. I would just urge the board to consider that if the applicant stated that they were going to move forward with the project with or without the 1.8, that we may want to look at our bank account and the things that we know that we've talked about as a trust, that we will need money for going forward, and show the support of this board by a much lower number. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, good.
It's taxpayers' money. We're here to protect the taxpayers' money and move forward with trust initiatives. So if 1.8 didn't matter enough that they were still gonna do the project, 200,000 may do it to show support of this trust. It's just my position, just throwing it out there.
So can we make an amendment to
You
the,
can?
So someone would have to do that.
can I make an amendment that we change the figure to 1 million? And I don't know if we need wording for in perpetuity, but I think we have that, so I would just say we change it to 1 million.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. Any other discussion?
And the only other amendment, Mr. Chair, would be my addition.
Your addition is on
I just
that.
wanna make sure that's in there.
Sure, that is. Okay,
Do you want to get that, let me just read that exactly. Oh, I might have that handy.
From the Penrose?
From the Penrose, yeah. Where would I put it? Give me 1 second, sorry. Oh, I don't have it.
but we can,
You get the gist.
Yeah.
we'll use the same
Well,
language.
I could pull the email that I sent you.
Okay,
Just say with the amended
Okay.
addition from the similar statement
Yeah,
used in
all payments
Penrose.
will be all payments
Will be authorized by
signed-
the chair.
authorized by the chair of the
Chair.
Affordable Housing Trust.
Thank you.
So we have those two changes to my motion.
We have a second, we have a first, Bob, you second?
Bob
that?
second.
We're all set, all in favor?
Aye.
Of the amendment, aye.
And opposition?
Opposed.
So it's 4-1. Okay. Thank you all for attending.
No, we haven't finished.
It's been a process, but I think we're better off for it.
Larry, did we have a final vote, or
did.
what? That was the vote on the
Yeah, I
amendment?
just asked that question, yeah.
Yeah, but that was the amendment to the whole
Oh,
thing.
oh, thank you.
Very good, okay. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, come on.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed. 4-1.
4-1 across the board.